The gate clicked shut, metal on metal, and the president of the Homeowners Association came charging across my driveway like she owned the place. She screamed, "You can't lock that, I have rights," while her guests stood behind her with fishing poles and coolers staring at me like I'd just robbed them. And then she did the most ridiculous thing imaginable. She called 911 on me on my own property. My name's David Parker. I'm 62 and I moved back to Maplewood, Texas after my dad passed. I didn't move for the nightlife, I moved because he left me the family place and a small private fishing lake tucked behind it. It's quiet back there, the kind of quiet you can actually hear. Wind in the cattails, a little ripple on the water birds doing their thing like they don't pay taxes. The neighborhood next to mine is Cedar Ridge Estates, and they're under an HOA, so strict you'd think they were guarding nuclear codes. Lawn height trash can angles approved, paint colors the whole suburban control starter pack. Here's the thing though, my land isn't in their HOA. Different development, different deed, different everything. That didn't stop Linda Baxter. First time I met her, she walked up my porch like an audition for a reality show. Pink blazer, clipboard smile, sharp enough to open envelopes. "Hi," she said like we were old friends. "I'm Linda Baxter, president of the Homeowners Association. We're so excited you've joined the community." I looked at her then at the thick packet she was trying to hand me. I didn't join anything I said. My property's not part of Cedar Ridge. Her smile twitched, just for half a second, then came right back. "Oh, we'll sort that out," she said, like she was talking to a confused child. I should have known then that sort that out meant bully you until you stop resisting. A week later, I'm coming back from the hardware store with fence posts in the bed of my truck. I turn down my gravel drive and I hear music, loud. Then I see them. Tables, folding chairs, a grill smoking like it's competing for attention, kids running around, and a cluster of adults lined up along my shoreline with fishing rods. On my shoreline. I just sat there for a second, hands on the wheel, watching like my brain was buffering. Because who does that? And in the middle of it, of course, was Linda. Arms crossed, chin up, acting like she's hosting a ribbon cutting. "Oh, good," she said when she saw me. "You're home. We're having the neighborhood fishing day." I got out of the truck and said, "No, you're not. You're trespassing." She laughed, actually laughed, and waved a hand toward the lake like it was a community pool. "This is a shared amenity," she said. "Cedar Ridge has always had access." I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need to. Everyone needs to pack up and leave. Now. A guy with a beer stepped forward like he wanted to make it a man-to-man thing. "Come on," he said. "Don't be that guy." I pointed at the water, then the tree line, then the fence posts in my truck. "I'm the guy whose name is on the deed," I said. "So yeah, today I'm that guy." Linda's eyes went cold. "Fine," she snapped. "We'll do this the official way." And right there in front of everyone, she called the police and said I was blocking HOA members from accessing community property. I started recording on my phone, not because I wanted drama, because I could already smell it coming. About 15 minutes later, a patrol car rolled up. Sergeant Ryan Cole stepped out, calm, tired, like he'd rather be anywhere else. Linda rushed him like he was her personal referee. "Officer, he's preventing residents from using the lake," she said. "He locked the gate. He's obstructing our rights." Ryan looked at me. "Sir, do you own this property?" "Yes," I said, "and I can prove it." I went inside, grabbed the deed packet from my closing, and handed it over. Linda kept talking fast and loud, stacking words like volume could become evidence. Ryan scanned the paperwork, then asked her, "Ma'am, do you have any easement documents? Anything that gives your association access to this land?" Linda blinked. "We don't need that," she said. "It's always been used by the community." Ryan didn't even flinch. "That's not how property law works," he said, and I swear I almost smiled. He turned to the crowd and told them politely but clearly they had to leave. And as they packed up, Linda stood there burning holes into me with her eyes. "This isn't over," she said low enough that only I could hear. "You're going to regret embarrassing me." The next few days were weird. Cars slowed down in front of my house like it was a landmark. People stared. A couple of them filmed. One woman shook her head at me like I'd kicked a puppy. Frank Miller, an older guy from Cedar Ridge, actually decent, stopped by my mailbox and said, "Just so you know, Linda's telling everyone you threatened kids." I just stared at him. "Threatened kids," I said. "I asked adults to get off my land." Frank shrugged. "Yeah, well, she's..." Linda. Then the letters started showing up. Notice of violation. In bold letters with Cedar Ridge Estates letterhead, like they were going to fine me for not trimming a lawn that wasn't theirs to police. They demanded I restore access and warned about further action. One morning I walked the lake and found my no trespassing sign ripped down. A week after that, another one was gone. Somebody was testing me. And I'll be honest, this is the part people don't talk about. It's not the shouting that wears you out, it's the steady drip of nonsense. The rumors, the paper threats, the feeling that an entire neighborhood has decided you're the villain because one woman with a clipboard said so. One night I stood at my kitchen sink looking out at the dark and I had this thought. Maybe I should just open the gate and let them have their little fishing days. Maybe the hassle isn't worth it. Then I pictured it clearly. The next little fishing day becomes a weekly thing. Then it's boats, then it's parties, then it's someone getting hurt, then it's my liability, my peace gone, my property slowly turned into their playground. And I thought, no, not like this. So I did what I do when people try to rewrite reality. I went to the records. I used to handle real estate disputes for a living. I know the county doesn't care about anyone's feelings, only what's filed and stamped. At the county clerk's office, I pulled every document tied to my parcel and the surrounding tracts. And there it was. An easement request filed under Cedar Ridge Estates, signed by Linda Baxter. And right across it in black and white was the county's response: denied. Not pending, not needs review, denied. Which meant Linda didn't just assume the lake was theirs. She tried to make it theirs, got told no, and then decided she'd just act like she got a yes anyway. That's when I called my friend Ethan Brooks. Ethan's the kind of guy who can look at a stack of filings and find the snake hiding between the lines. I told him what I found, and he went quiet for a moment, then said, "David, I think this is bigger than fishing." 2 days later, he called me back and said Linda formed an LLC, Cedar Ridge Recreation Partners. I sat down. Why? Because she's selling the lake, he said. Or at least, she's selling the idea of it. Ethan dug up emails and marketing blurbs, exclusive access, members-only, fishing club, limited spots. There were investors' deposit receipts, and then, the worst part, a letter on county letterhead supposedly approving the easement. Except the county seal was off. The wording was wrong. The signature didn't match the official's real signature. It wasn't a mistake. It was a fake. Then Martha Reed showed up at my door. She was Cedar Ridge's treasurer. Neat ponytail, tired eyes, holding a folder like it weighed 100 pounds. She didn't do small talk. "I can't balance the account," she said. "Money's missing. And every time I ask Linda, she tells me to stop digging." She opened the folder and slid out copies of payments approved for lake access improvements, consulting fees, and project deposits. And the vendors, some of them didn't even exist. That's when we stopped treating this like a neighbor dispute and started treating it like what it was: fraud. We didn't confront Linda in the street. We didn't post on Facebook. We didn't argue in the comments with people who were never going to change their minds anyway. We built a clean file. Deed maps, the denied easement, the fake letter, the LLC paperwork, the payments, the missing money. And we waited for the place Linda felt safest, the HOA meeting. The community center was packed that night. People came angry, curious, defensive, ready to pick a side before hearing a word. Linda was front and center, smiling like she'd already won. She had a lawyer next to her which told me everything I needed to know. When the agenda got to special presentation, Linda shot up. "Point of order," she barked. "This is harassment." Ethan stood and said, calm as a judge. The board voted. The presentation proceeds. Linda's smile cracked, just a hairline fracture, but I saw it. I walked up to the front with my laptop and said, "My name is David Parker. I own the property next to Cedar Ridge. The lake you've been told is shared is mine." Murmurs rippled through the room. Linda rolled her eyes like I was being dramatic. I put up the map property lines clear as daylight. Then the deed. Then the county's denial of the easement request. Linda tried to laugh it off. "That doesn't matter," she said too loudly. "We have an agreement." I clicked to the next slide, the LLC registration with her name on it. Then the deposits. Then the fake county letter. The room went quiet in that heavy way, like people were doing mental math and not liking the answer. That's when Grant Sullivan stood up. Tall guy, expensive suit face, like he'd been holding it together until this exact moment. He said, "I'm Grant Sullivan. I represent Sullivan Leisure Group." He looked right at Linda. Your HOA president took our money based on an approval letter the county says is forged. Linda snapped. That's a lie. Grant didn't even raise his voice. We verified it, he said, and we've already filed our complaint. Martha stood next, hands shaking, but voice steady. And the association's funds, she said, have been used for this. Our money, without proper documentation. Somebody in the back said, "Are you serious?" And it came out like a whisper in church. Linda started talking fast excuses, accusations, the classic everyone's against me routine. She pointed at me like I'd orchestrated it all for fun. But the room had changed. People weren't watching me anymore. They were watching her. Ethan placed a sealed envelope on the front table and said, "Copies of this evidence have been sent to the district attorney's office." Linda went pale, then red. "You can't do this," she shouted. "This is my community." And right there in front of everyone, the board called for a vote. No speeches, no delays, no Linda controlling the microphone. Breach of duty, misuse of funds, immediate removal. The vote wasn't even close. Linda stood frozen for a second, like her body couldn't accept what her mouth was hearing. Then her lawyer grabbed her arm and started steering her toward the exit, while she kept repeating, "This is insane! This is insane!" The doors shut behind her and the room stayed silent, like we all needed a second to let reality catch up. I walked out into the night air and for the first time since moving in the neighborhood felt normal. Not friendly, not perfect, just normal. Because the lake never needed a president, it just needed the truth. Lesson: when someone claims rights, they can't prove check the records. And let the paperwork do the talking.